Today, I want to talk about how to blend or chew a curve that's shared between two pattern pieces because digitally, this task takes multiple steps to do and it's not as straightforward as you would do with pen and paper. I'll show you how to do it with SeamScape. Um, the software is free and is a parametric pattern drafting tool. I'll link to my other tutorial to help you get started with the software, but this solution kind of applies to other parametric drafting tools as well. All right, so what kind of curve chewing are we talking about here? So a lot of times when two pattern pieces share a seam and when that seam is done together, the neighboring curved seam need to kind of transition smoothly from one piece to another. An example of this is the armhole between the body's front and back. So, when we stitch the two side seams together, the armhole needs to be nice and smooth here and here. And we can also see this on the neckline between the front and back, or the crotch curve between a pant's front or back. So what these examples have in common is that each pair of pattern pieces is joined on one edge, and then the nearby edge forms a curve, and this curve is what we need to chew or blend. Okay, so before tackling it with Seamscape, um, let's just see how we would do it physically with pen and paper. Say I'm trying to get a smooth crotch curve with this pen front and this pen back. What do? So usually I just put the front and the back together and matching them at the top few inches of the inseam. Of course, we need to ensure that both inseams are the same length, but lengths are pretty easy to compare with the seamscape because I'll just let the length of one inseam equal to the length of the other inseam. And now looking at the crotch curve, I see there's a little pointy tip at the crotch point, so I just redraw around this part to kind of smooth it out. With Seamscape, we can't do this because first, it doesn't allow me to just put two pattern pieces together, right? And second, I need to somehow sort of translate my eyeballing into something that Seamscape can understand and operate on. So here's how I do it. My example is the crotch seam. So pretend this is the back and this is the pen front. And I didn't bother drawing the side seam because we don't care about it today. Notice this crotch curve has the straight part and the curved part. And also my inseam is straight. Here, just pretend that we're doing like a really short pair of like really sporty type of shorts. Okay, so and finally the crotch curves. These are just like tentative, right? Because we're gonna redraw and smooth them up. So just like what we did with the physical pattern, we need to put them together by rotating the curves to that so that they match up. So I'll try to keep the back piece as is and copy the front piece over. To start with, I'll just replace this curve with a straight line because we don't care about this shape, the curve shape, because we just need the relative location between the crotch point and the start of the straight part. So copying it over. Yeah, I just hit Command Z and Command V here on my Mac. In Windows, you would do Control Z, Control V. And also we need to kind of rotate them a little bit like this because look at the inseams, right? So the inseam are different by this angle here, this angle and this angle, and then this angle difference is what we need to rotate. So let's see. So line A7, A8, angle minus line A2, A3, I think. Angle. Oops, yeah, is the other way. All right, so this is the start of the front uh, straight part of the crotch seam. So same here, we're copying and pasting the straight part. Also needs to rotate the same amount. And we also need to like kind of make a 14 and a 12 like together, right? So I'm gonna flip the direction of this line and heading this A13 and drag it to A12. It will just automatically just like merge these 2 points. All right, so this is kind of the crotch curve we're talking about today, and now we're ready to kind of redraw this, deleting it because we don't need it, and click and drag, release, and click and drag, release, and a final click. So here is a curve that spans 3 different points, and they're at each of these 3 points we have a handle that we can toggle. What we want to do is that this handle needs to be an extension of A0, A1, right? So what we're gonna do is to so this angle is line A0, A1 angle. And for this part to be smooth, we need to, yeah, same thing. We want to do what? Yeah, out of the way. And this would be a 14, A12, A12 angle, which doesn't work because we need, this is called instance because this is a copy of like the other thing. All right. And for here, I want it to be kind of perpendicular to the inseam. So this angle plus 90. All right, and I'm like squinting this way to try to see what's a good what a good crotch curve looks like. I think this is okay for now. It looks kind of smooth here. Yeah, so this is good. And one last step is to just copy this part back to the front. Command C and Command V. So we first want to, well, yeah, we don't flip it, we just rotate it. So the amount of rotation is just the negative of like what we did before. Okay, and we want to drag a 15. Wait, yeah, drag a 15. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, we need to have it start at a 15. So like start at the other point, right? So this part goes this way. And yeah, I think this is pretty much it. So when we create a pattern piece, we just use this part. Wait, what? Yeah. Let me try that again. Wait. So pretend this is our sizing, and when we create a pattern piece, we be able to, huh? Let me see what happens here. So looks like A7 and 8 are not connected to something. How about we from point A12 to say like the middle point, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think this would work out. So when you create a pattern piece, you just like, yeah, just follow the curves and things should be okay. This is the copy, paste, rotate method that helps me visualize how things look. So it's similar to how we manipulate physical pattern pieces, right? But sometimes when I get lazy, I have a faster method. So notice how at this crotch point, the handle is like perpendicular to the inseam, and also is like the two sides of it, they are like the same length. So sometimes when I get lazy, I just sort of draw a curve directly from like A1 to A2 here, and make sure this handle, like this part of handle, is like 90 degrees, and then draw directly on this part, make sure this part is 90 degrees and has the same handle length as this part. However, this like lazy method doesn't really guarantee a smooth curve just because of the handle's length. So if the curve is important, I still do this visual check myself. I only do that, the lazy method, when two places where like the curve's not that important. For example, like the neckline, right? So the crotch curve is just too important to do that, to like not do this. Okay, yeah, this is all I have for blending curves today. I hope it helps with your own drafting. Have fun.